The jobless numbers continue to spike. Another 5+ million Americans entering the unemployment line again this week as that surge continues to pummel state governments around the country, Illinois among them, as Governor Pritzker came under fire from House Republicans this week as the state's unemployment website sags under the weight of a crush of these claims that just keep flooding in.
Some constituents have told me that they have tried every day for the last 2 weeks to get a hold of a live person at IDES and have had no success.
House Republicans joined their leader Jim Durkin in a video call Monday morning to demand an immediate fix to the state's sagging unemployment system.
These are people desperately asking for help.
Governor Pritzker blamed the delays on outdated computer systems and a record number of new jobless claims flooding the system.
We've assigned hundreds of state employees to work around the clock to respond at the fastest rate possible.
Durkin called on Governor Pritzker to enlist the help of state workers at other agencies to pitch in and help out.
The demand continues to exceed the manpower at IDES.
The governor said the state's IT agency overhauled the main unemployment website. Google and other tech firms built a virtual bot to answer frequently asked questions 24/7, and the state is working to expand new benefits Congress made available last month. At his daily press conference Monday afternoon, Pritzker appeared to bristle at criticism coming from across the aisle.
I draw a distinction between those who stand up in this moment and try to help and those who, hold press conferences to complain.
But House Republican Grant Worley pointed out the governor has pointed a finger of blame at the president more than once during the coronavirus outbreak.
But he has absolutely no oversight of the federal government. He has 100% oversight of IDES. It is time for this governor to step up and fix the problems with IDES and not just complain about things at the federal level. This is 100% under his control.
House Republican leader Jim Durkin joins us from his district office. And Leader Durkin, I know you were leading the charge for calling to fix the state's unemployment website, to expedite these claims for so many people who are now without work, many of them without a paycheck. I want to ask you first about these gig economy workers, these 1099 contractors. The governor has said they hope to have those claims processed by May 11, nearly a month from now, and roughly actually more than 7 weeks since he first announced his executive order. Is that timeline acceptable to you?
Gig employees were given 4 months. They were allowed, a certain amount of money under the CARES Act, but it's only good for 4 months from the day in which the CARES Act was put into place. I mentioned the fact that Georgia and Michigan currently have their employment, their employment security, whatever the equivalent is in those states, is up and running. It's unacceptable. We can't wait. It should be done sooner. I don't know what a date is, but for saying we're going to have that up and going in a month, to me, I'm very troubled by that. Again, the issues that we have within the Department of Employment Security and the failings were foreseeable. They could have been avoided. And when we shut down a good portion of the state's economy, we should have realized that many people would be laid off, fired, and they would need assistance from the state of Illinois. And to say now that it's going to take a month before we can have gig economy up and going, or have the gig employees up and going and be able to, in order for them to access the benefits under the CARES Act. I don't know technology, obviously, but giving them a month to complete this, to me, seems like that's too long of a period. There should be hard deadlines. We've got so many amazing consulting groups that come in and troubleshoot problems that can do it. And the fact is, the order should come, get this done expeditiously, get it done quicker. Every day that goes by, it's another day in which someone is going to lose an opportunity to receive the benefit that they deserve and that they're required to get under state law. And that's traditional employees who've been laid off, but also now gig employees are not going to get the benefit from what the federal government has offered them.
Yeah, I'm trying to imagine what that must sound like. I think for a lot of these unemployed workers in Illinois who are in the gig economy, they might have just taken away from this announcement today that, all right, I've got to buckle down and strap down even tighter for the next month until that money arrives.
Where are they going to find the money? Where are they going to get those jobs? These are low-wage earners. These are independent contractors. These are Uber, Lyft drivers, and how are they going to be able to sustain themselves until that date in May? My only statement is get it done quicker. We're at a point in society and also in the economy and also in our tech businesses where we can do things at a lightning pace. Let's get it done quicker. This is about getting the state of Illinois Department of Employment Security and UI system in line with the federal government. This is technology. That is what society, everything is done on an enhanced technological basis. Do better. Get it done quicker because people are suffering. And will continue to suffer, particularly that type of employee who's been classified as a gig employee. How are they going to be able to make ends meet over the next month in the state of Illinois? When the federal government was kind enough to say that, you know what, we're including you in. We're including you in, even though the state of Illinois does not recognize those individuals under state law as being beneficiaries under UI.
I recall some discussion, some debate a few months back, if not last year, this idea of merging the Departments of Labor and Employment Security. Do you see any wisdom in that today, or should they stay separate in their functions and duties?
I don't think that would make a difference today. I think that the governor has the ability, and I'm not sure how it would solve the problems that we currently have at IDES, the Employment Security. The people who work there are working extremely hard. There is no doubt in my mind, and I credit those employees. And it's unfortunate that it's gotten to a point where the Illinois State Police now has to provide security for those employees throughout the state of Illinois because people are mad. But we just don't have the capacity. The demand exceeds the demand exceeds the manpower that we have. So merging those two agencies, I don't think would make a difference. But we need to take individuals from different parts of state government, place them into IDES to cover. So we don't have, 6,500 hours of overtime is a lot. Let's put more state employees into there on a temporary basis. That is a simple thing to do for this administration.
I understand you've been in contact with the governor's office, but I wonder if you've also been in contact with IDES directly. We've seen some reports that perhaps 25% of their own workforce is also working from home. Some of them, yes, braving this coronavirus era and still going into their physical work location, but many of them working remotely, logging on from home. That job probably becoming a bit harder, a bit more cumbersome. Is this simply a question of manpower? Is it feasible to try and bring people over from other agencies and train them for entry-level jobs? Do you think that would help expedite this process of pushing this paperwork through the system to process this record number of claims?
I don't know what the answer to that is. I don't know how many people that would require. The governor is the governor, and this is what his job is. His job is to look and fix the problems in state government and make sure that the quality of life and people in Illinois is at the highest that we can expect. But I don't have an answer to that. It's a question of everything. We need more bodies over in IDES. We need to have our tech systems need to be improved. But again, I've just identified over the past 3 weeks the problems that I share, that many other state representatives and senators share throughout the state of Illinois, that IDES is failing the people of the state of Illinois who have been left out on the curb because of state action.
I understand you said you support Governor Pritzker's decision to stay at home and use that executive order. There may be some pressure on him from public health officials to extend it even further.
I'll speak for myself. I supported the governor's stay-at-home order, and I still do. I want to see the state of Illinois become a healthier state. I want the coronavirus numbers to continue to go lower. I think it's working. I think the order is working. I hope that we're on this downward turn. But at the same time, we can't lose sight of what has happened to our economy. That is equally as important as ensuring that the health of Illinois citizens is going to be strong, and we're going to continue to watch out and do the best we can. But the economy of Illinois is equally as important. And because of many of these people who are filing for UI unemployment insurance are filing because the executive order shut down their place of business. So we have to take care of them at the same time. They're equally as important.
I guess my question is, what should the return to normal order look like? Are you already having those discussions with the governor's office? And then should that be a phase-in process that the state ratchets up, perhaps county by county or sector or industry by industry?
You know, that's something that I've been thinking about, and I mentioned a little bit earlier that as we get closer towards the end of month, I believe that it is important for the governor to consult with the legislative leaders to discuss whether or not, first of all, I'd like to know a little more in advance of whether or not this order is going to be, it's going to be re-upped. It's going to be for the month of May. But also, should the order be modified? I think that that is what needs to be part of it needs to be a thoughtful discussion between the governor and the legislative leaders on behalf of our caucuses. We've been running state government through executive order over the past 2 months. I'm not complaining about that, but we are also a co-equal branch of government. Legislative input on the executive order, which has been very drastic, but it was important. And as I said earlier, I support the governor's stay-at-home order. But we have to be creative. We have to think about our economy, state finances at the same time. And can we modify? Can we? The question, I'm not saying we should. Is there a way to modify the governor's executive order without compromising the health and safety of Illinoisans to improve our economy?
Is there one thing in there you would modify now if you knew you could do it? What would that modification be?
I don't have an answer for that, Mark. I don't have an answer. This is one of the most complicated, and I don't want to guess either. This is the most challenging moment that the state of Illinois has ever had. And I want to make sure that when I make a decision that it's been thoughtful, it's important, but I have to rely upon my caucus. I speak on behalf of my caucus, and I will talk to my caucus about how can we make recommendations on how to move forward if the executive order is going to be extended. I am sympathetic to our small businessmen and women throughout the state of Illinois. Everybody says they're the backbone of economy, and they sure are. They sure are, and they employ a lot of people. So we have to put that in consideration, how we can, and it sounds like a lot, but you know what? Our job is to find answers and to resolve major problems. And we can find a way to ensure the safety, the public safety of Illinois citizens, at the same time putting people back to work and slowing down. Let's reduce the corona diagnoses, but also let's reduce the unemployment claims at the same time. We can do it. We can walk and chew gum at the same time, Mark.
And all right, lastly, are there any words of hope or optimism or maybe stories, uplifting stories you've seen as the state grapples with the coronavirus across Illinois?
The news of yesterday's, I mean, no one says that the fatalities are tragic, but the fatalities from Saturday to Sunday were greatly reduced. And that was heartwarming, and that was, maybe that is a light at the end of the tunnel, but we've got some way to go. I think that we've done a good job as a state to remind people that social distancing is the way to beat this. Be mindful of where you go, where you shop, and everything that has been drilled into us over the past month and a half. But there will be a time in which we're going to have to change course. We're going to have to pivot because we can't keep our eye off the ball about the finances of the state and also our economy and our joblessness. To me, that's implicit, that's implied, and that's just as important as it is to killing this virus. It's putting people back to work.
All right, well, thanks for signing on, House Republican leader Jim Durkin. We're back in just a moment with House Representative Mike Zaleski. Stay with us.